as of today. But I do relate, obviously, to the Punjabis because my family were not here in the 1850s. They were not here. Now, what's going to happen? Now that my family's here, what's happening is that I've now got a different kind of mindset. I'm like, if I had kids, which I haven't, but let's just say you've got kids, their kids' history would have started from like the 1960s. And we will have this kind of mix, and we need to start accepting that, right? The English have their history, but it's not my history. It's my history from the 1960s because I'm here now, you're British, because it's my family here. And we need to start accepting that and not trying to say, okay, this is our history. It's just not true. Our history is
as you can see, me and Raj are agreeing again. Yeah. According to them, me and Raj are arguing. We don't get on. So let's go back and see what the dickheads are saying.
You know what I mean?
Let me come back on in a minute, Ed, in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's all fucking crazy. But, you know, but that's what happens when if you open your mouth, you're up for criticism as well.
It's all crazy, says Easy, who conspired with Den and Moon to cause trouble and make out that me and Raj are arguing, hoping that it was going to cause a controversy. And when it backfired, now it's all crazy. Unbelievable.
Well, it wasn't an attack. I'm just like, you know, I will just say, I just find it all fucking crazy. You know, it's all fucking egos all the time. Egos. You know, I just think.
Yeah, when he's left on the panel on his own, he don't know what to say because he can't think for himself, so he has to go, like Div.
We don't get anywhere when it gets like that. For me personally, I just think, just attack a guy like that because he disagrees with something. He's upset about it. Can't call you fucking total hate. You know what I mean?
So I don't know how many times he has to be told that Raj didn't believe that I actually thought he was open at 8. He understood what I was saying. Don't know how many times he has to be told this. Even though I proved it by reviewing what he exactly said earlier on the stream with Manny. Still ain't sunk into this sicko's head.
Ridiculous. And other people have different perspectives how to deal with things as well. Doesn't mean they're against what you're saying.
Oh, other people have got different perspectives as well. Am I allowed to have a different perspective? Or have I got to conform to you and Dan? Don't think so, smelly lefties.
Other people just do things another way they think is better. And I think Paul has his way of doing things. And you agree or not, but he's there. But what can you do about it? You can vote about it. What can you do about it, really? It's just fucking nothing, really. Why not argue with it? Just ignore it, you know? If you don't like it. That's how I see it now.
Oh, that's funny. When did you realise that then? After you tried to cause a shitstorm? After you lost the argument? After you got made to look stupid? When did that sort of like sink in? Yeah? And by the way, everyone's got an opinion. Everyone can raise their opinion. And like I said before, if it's to save our country, I'll stand with Paul Falk. Yeah? I stand with Paul Falk along with everybody else in the fucking movement who does their little bit. Because Tommy values him for some reason, so there must be something that he does. Yeah? I just don't stand with him on some of what he says, where he sits in Spain comfortably telling British people what to do. Yeah? And I have a right to fucking point that out that I don't agree with it. Just like you think you've got the right to criticise, even though you made it up on the premise of a lie, but don't like it when I push back and tell you the fucking truth. So let's get back to the actual proper debate about the country rather than about people. And
I'm not arguing about that.
Another point is, we're not saying it in a way of English are better than Indians or Indians are better than English. We're not saying it in that way. What we're saying is, no, that's our roots, and we feel attached to those roots, just like you feel attached to. I asked you on my panel when you was there. I said to you, Trilla, if coming to this country, or being born in England meant that you had to rescind all of your past from India, would you think that fair? You said no. So why are you expecting English people to do that so that outsiders feel more comfortable in our homeland? That's wrong.
What am I asking you to rescind?
You're asking us to give up our past and our roots and say that you are part of that past when you wasn't.
What am I asking you to give up? I don't. What part of your past? What are you talking about?
King Alfred thriller, right?
King Alfred.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, look, when I say King Boris fought Alexander the Great, right, in 500 BC, and he defeated him, Wendy and Gibbs have no connection to that. At that time, the Romans were here, right? So for us, we have a different history, and their history is different. So for us, I can be proud and say, okay, you know, this is us. I think the English people, even though there's negative, all people have negativity in it, right? They need to be able to embrace their own history without being said, oh, you're racist, you're that and that, because it's only going to cause people to become more extreme, right?
No, when it comes down to it, I said this to Dupta, right? I think on the panel the other day. If they were to call themselves Indian, right? How many Indians do you think really care? Unless you're, if you're like one.
Right? Every other identity in the world. And the English are meant to be equal. And if we are equal, like you say you want to be to us, then you would respect us and not take away our identity.
Yeah. But I've always kind of thought, well, if you're born in England and you want to identify as English, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Like, what is the problem?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who cares?
I mean, do you know what? Triller, actually, every time when he has something to eat, I've never heard him say he's had a curry. He's always said he's had chicken nuggets or a burger. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't get any more English than that.
What, chicken nuggets? I think they're American, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, see, I'm doing is keep think that you got people who are anti-British and want to take these flags down, and they're saying it's fucking racist. Yeah, but as far as I consider, you're doing fucking treason. Get out of this country.
Yeah, well, maybe people just need to stop fucking hating on other people.
Mm. And do you know what?
The colour of their skin.
And do you know
But
what?
we're not gonna bow down to Islam, and that's the only issue I have.
Yeah,
That's the only issue I have. Is you're not going to force me into any corner over your fucking religion. If you want to practice it, go and practice it, but do not force any of it onto me
yeah,
and my kids.
yeah.
That's it.
Has anyone actually ever tried to force you though?
No. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Just
It doesn't really matter.
I say that goes for like people knocking on the door.
Oh yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, I don't like any of that.
No, it means no. But whether my culture is being
If anyone's got the timestamp for where, what day actually, Amy wrote the joke about babies being in McDonald's burgers. Kaylee should be more concerned about the babies in McDonald's. She wrote. I'm just trying to find the comment she wrote, but I'll find it. Got a few things few pointers regarding this. Few streams. Got a thing. Cool thing about miniature. Animals do cool things that miniature animals do or something, and then something to do with blood in satanic shoes that have got a drop of blood in the sole of the shoe as a tribute to Satan. And it's just coinciding with today's date, 1810. It's the verse Luke 10:18, as they write in America, 10:18. And they're the month first. Ain't you, Clyde?
being eroded for somebody's religion.
Yeah.
No, I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
Yeah.
That needs to stop. Like they want you to get rid of your dogs and taking down posters of women in bikinis. That's not allowed. You know, slowly it's like chipping away. And that is why people have got annoyed.
What, because they can't look at girls in bikinis on posters?
Yeah, because we're being told
Yeah.
to cover up. Well, we don't have to cover up. I mean, I
No,
do.
but, I mean,
At my age.
even
When it
just
was the grannies. But
even taking religion out of it, I don't want my son walking around seeing pictures of girls in bikinis on posters, to be honest.
oh, I
Like,
do.
Why?
Well, because then it shows my boys are normal.
So you're going to stop him taking him to the beach then?
No, but like, why do we need pictures of girls in bikinis, or even worse, half the time,
Because they got to sell
on
that
posters?
product.
What product? Bikinis.
Bikinis and
Well, yeah,
underwear.
that makes sense. Where's that being stopped?
Well,
London.
can't they? Yeah,
London. London. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Got
that's
to
a bit
cover up.
weird then.
Yeah.
I
Got
thought you meant just
cover up.
normal posters. I was like, well,
No, it's
What?
only, oh no, like, you know, on bus stops.
yeah.
Well, summer's coming. So
Yeah.
they got M&S have got all their new range of bikinis or underwear, all that on the side of buses.
Oh no,
No,
that
that's
I
probably
don't see the
wasn't
issue with
allowed.
that. I was more thinking like page 3 sort of shit. I was like, what are we?
Oh,
why would we make one
no,
up?
no.
Yeah, no.
not
Yeah,
page
just
3.
selling a product. I don't see the issue with that.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, page 3 stuff was always just tacky. I mean, again, we had girls who were barely 16 years old on page 3 with all their tits out, pushed into that by their dads. Like, my
Yeah.
dad would never, ever, ever have thought that that was okay for, you know, his daughters, age fucking 15, just going on 16. But that was that era, and I'm glad we kind of moved out of that era. Like I was saying about the Britney Spears thing last night, listening to them dirty old rednecks in that bar talking about this very young girl and how they'd lost their little girl because she grew up and got a boyfriend. And they didn't want anything to do with her. And I'm thinking, you shouldn't have been having anything to do with her in the fucking first place. You nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's all weird. I think even like even with clothes though, the clothes that are in shops for little girls these days are just weird as fuck. Like it's more
agree with that.
adult
I
clothing,
agree
like
with-
little
Yeah.
skirts, like adult styles as well, like proper.
Yeah.
Like, it's just all weird. I couldn't ever dress a little girl in that. Like,
No, I totally agree.
You know, they were when my niece was about 7. My sister took her shopping for obviously kids' underwear, and she said to me, "You won't believe it. They've only got thongs."
what the
Thongs
fuck?
for 7-year-olds.
That's fucked.
And that's when, like, all the Spice Girls stuff, Girls Aloud, Little Minx, all these girl bands who were jumping on stage with everything hanging out. And then, of course, like the girls, they very young girls who are into girl bands and boy bands, and they then want to dress like them. But that's when you know that things are going too far. Who's that company?
Then shut the
Balenciaga,
fuck up.
Is it Balenciaga that?
Oh yeah. That shit's
So
fucked.
look what they got caught doing, and who is putting herself about now, isn't she? Bigging them up because apparently the owner of Balenciaga is her best mate, Meghan Markle.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Kardashian owns that company, don't she?
You know,
The biggest nonsense.
her mouth, every time
Scariest nonsense and the biggest nonsense are the high up people because they get away with it.
Yeah. Hey, Kitty, love. Yeah, exactly. But every time she opens her mouth, she
This is just mad how they do know about so much of it, yet they just do not care. They do not care enough to actually pursue it. Like this is just it was such a brief conversation that they went on to this, and there's so much information, research, and that just explains so much of what they're involved in, and it's just so sad. So anyway, if you're hearing any of this, either of you, please do better.
puts her foot in it because people were straight onto it, you know, like fucking hell. You could have picked any company but that. It's like they're in a different world. But she, you know, she'll do anything for publicity, won't she? That one.
Of course, she'll send her own father, dear. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then it is. It's worrying.
It is worrying, and it's up to the parents to be responsible for how they just will, you know.
God, don't say that. Everyone
Yeah.
will tell you you're blaming the parents.
See, I
Can't do that in
remember
this day and
Madonna
age.
and that, but I was of an age where I was an adult. So if I wanted to walk around in shit that Madonna wore, that's different.
No, I went to the
Yeah,
beach though, and
yeah, but
bear in mind,
before that-
I was wearing a baya at this time, so I was wearing hijab, and I went to the beach, and there was this woman. I wouldn't even say it was a bikini because I could see fucking everything. And
Everything, yeah.
like anyone who wears a bikini, I appreciate some people don't want to shave, but please just like at least trim or something because like there was
Yep.
hair everywhere.
Oh
Every time she
no!
turned, like you could just see different angles. Oh, it wasn't attractive
Ugh.
at all. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah,
Like,
you
how do you
definitely
not
gotta
feel a
get-
breeze for one?
You definitely got to get the gardeners in, haven't you, for that?
She was looking at me like I was crazy at the beach, and
Testing. Let's do a volume test. Is that much quieter still? So I can settings on there, wasn't that on that one? Mic volume's on full. I'm talking quite quietly just because I turned echo cancellation on before. That comes out much better, doesn't it? That comes out much louder, doesn't it? I did it so I could play the music through it before. I think that looked like it looks like it came through much louder on the little bar thing then. I can turn it up. It goes red on the it'll just get. I don't know if it distorts when it if I turn it right up like that. Yeah, I can turn it up a bit more if it needs be. It goes. It's just bordering on the red. Okay, this is as loud as it goes, so that'll be really loud, I think. So I'll turn it down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. We'll just crank it right up. There is an instrument button as well, which I'm not really sure what that does because I think that might pick up. It picks up something slightly different. But cool. I'll turn the instrument button off. I think it might just get used to not having it on. Not all the way. Oh yeah. There we are. A little bit. There we are. I'll listen in a moment. Oh, cool. I'll turn it just off the red again. Yeah. There.
I was looking at her like, what the fuck? You aren't even shaved, for fuck's sake. We can all see it.
Yeah, that's enough.
I need to explain myself. When I said about the parents got to be responsible, I don't expect young girls of 6 and that being dressed up like that.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
promoting. I
Yeah.
get makeup and having fun, that's different. But when they get to like 15 or 16, yeah, but when it's like 5 to like 8, even 10ish, no, you don't just like that. You just don't. Yeah.
Even like the short crop tops showing their tummies. Like, I don't understand it. I don't even see why
No,
they're
not at that age. That's what
Not at that age, exactly. And that is down to parents. You know, I know, like we had different fashions. So I was lucky because mine was like the punk era, but I still had to wait till my mum and dad had gone to work before I nipped upstairs and took my school uniform off and put my fucking ripped up jeans and a bin liner on, you know. But you know, it wasn't anything like these. It definitely came with the girl bands, definitely.
Adam Lashbrook, you are relentless. You just Have no shame. You are very lost lad. What can we do to help? We're just going to have to get the justice to do its process, aren't we? Due course, care and attention, judicial process.
And the other thing, even with the young boys as well, getting dressing their young lads up with skinny fucking shorts and things like that. Nah, that would, you know, you
Well, I
won't-
remember the footballers, and they always had these tight little bloody shorts on.
Yeah,
It looked fucking awful.
yeah. I don't expect an 8-year-old kid to wear tight fucking shorts and fucking tight jeans.
Yeah, exactly. And that is down to parenting, definitely.
Yeah,
And shops shouldn't even be making those sort of clothes for kids. See, there's just this fucking lack of protection for children. If
Oh,
you know,
it-
as long as they can make money and sell shit, they do not care.
yeah. Facade was one of them who was fucking promoted all that. So I mean, he'll figure and all that lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There was Vivian Westwood used to campaign against it. You know?
yeah. Like, no, I don't know about you, Amy, but I think most women, like, we don't want to see a guy in tight, fucking, stretchy lycra Calvin Kleins. Like a guy in a nice pair of silky boxers. That's it.
I don't know. I do prefer the tight boxers.
Do
to be
you?
honest.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, how weird. No. Ugh.
I thought you was going to say like skinny jeans and that. I don't like that.
Oh, no, not skinny
Yeah.
jeans either. But like, they're a health hazard. And women know as well that thongs are a big health hazard for women. And yet there they were making them and selling them for fucking 7-year-olds. Unbelievable.
I mean, don't these men know wearing skinny jeans fucking makes you fucking ball bag fucking smaller? The fucking crunch shit up. As he walking around all day, you're fucking bollocks.
They just don't even look. They don't even look comfy on men. I don't get how they look uncomfortable,
horrible.
but they do look very uncomfortable.
And it's terrible when overweight women and overweight men wear it as well.
Yeah.
You see,
I know
It's
where
like
size is too
boyfriend-
small. That's the issue.
Yeah. I should like the boyfriend jeans, the A-line. But yeah, definitely not the drain pipes. That was like a throwback to the Teddy Boys, wasn't it?
You see some of these women about 22 stone and their fucking arses are fucking ready to fucking pop out. You know,
Yeah, and they've literally shoveled themselves into some tight dress.
yeah. Sometimes I itch to kick them up the arse. You know, just fucking change it.
Yeah, but again, they were promoting that Biggie's beautiful and all this, and they totally avoided the health hazards. You know, there was a few on here who had channels where they sat and fed their fucking face, and they died. It killed them.
Yeah.
Oh, there's people on TikTok that do that. And,
Yeah.
like, eating challenges and shit.
Amy, because you're young, I want to ask you, do you like that new haircut everybody has? What the looks like they've had the fucking saucepan off their head.
The bowl cut.
Wait, what new haircut?
You know,
Yeah,
the
I
bowl-
can see.
Oh, this is. It's just so tragical. We're going to flick to this other one just to hear about them going over the clothing. The clothing.
It's the velour like a suede
Oh,
material.
it's not, hey, easy. Treat yourself to something on there, man. It's fucking. It's
Look at
brilliant.
that.
Oh my God! Look at these. They used to love their stuff.
Oh, there's
And filler.
I quite like it. I
Filler.
like that top and I like that thing. I love the feeler tops. Always love the
Yeah,
feeler.
filler. Didn't were they once sponsored by? Or they sponsored West Ham?
I don't know. They're
Yeah.
great, aren't they, I think. Yeah. Fucking look at it. Yeah, their jacket's all right. I like the dots. I like actually.
Well, look, if you press,
I got mine.
press reject all cookies, see where it says reject all cookies, then red bits at the bottom.
And it's got the feeler fit.
Easy, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you press reject all cookies, yeah. Right.
There you go.
Oh, I don't get all that. for some reason.
Jackets, yeah, let's go to jackets. Come on, man. Search it.
She's pretty sharp.
Oh, a few others. Look at
Is
it.
the velour like a suede
Oh,
material?
it's so, hey, easy. Treat yourself to something on there, man. It's fucking, it's
Look
brilliant.
at that.
Oh my God, look at these things. I used to love their stuff.
Oh, there's
And filler.
I quite like these. I
Filler.
like that top, and I like that feel. I love the feeler tops. Always love the feeler
Yeah,
tops.
filler. Didn't weren't they once sponsored by? Or they sponsored West Ham?
I don't know. They're
Yeah.
great today, I think. Yeah. Fucking look at it. Yeah, their jackets are all right. But I like their tops. I like, actually, I
Well,
like
look,
that.
if you press
And
reject,
Doc Martens.
press reject all cookies, and see where
Yeah.
it says reject all cookies, then red bits at the bottom.
Hey, let's look at the feeler feet.
Easy, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you press reject all cookies, yeah. Right,
There you go.
Oh, I don't get all that for some reason.
jackets, yeah, let's go to jackets. Come on, man. Search it.
Tip of the shoulder as well. I
Stuff.
oh, there's
And filler.
I quite like it. I like that top, and I like that feel. I love the feeler tops. Always love the feeler
Yeah,
tops.
filler. Didn't weren't they once sponsored by? Or they sponsored West Ham?
I don't know. They're
Yeah.
great today, I think. Yeah. Fucking look at it. Yeah, their jackets are all right. But I like their tops. I like, actually, I
Well,
like
look,
that.
if you press
And Doc Martens.
press reject all cookies, and see where
Yeah.
it says reject all cookies, then red bits at the bottom.
Hey, let's look at the feeler feet.
Easy, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you press reject all cookies, yeah. Right,
There you go.
Oh, I don't get all that for some reason.
jackets, yeah, let's go to jackets. Come on, man. Search it. I've got a wardrobe for fucking.
I was showing it all. I just realised.
Jackets. Here we go.
Oh, mate, wait till you see this shit. Like the Gabardini, the fucking, you know, it's got all sorts. Sergio, Vila. Oh, fucking look at this shit.
That's a nice fit. You can tell that's a nice fit. I might get my son one of these actually.
Yeah, good, hey, they're a good fit as well when you get them, and they're really, really.
Oh, look at that one.
Oh, look at them. Yeah, I've got one of them.
Look at them. That's fucking nice. That is.
The Gabici, yeah.
Actually, I like the brown one actually. I might treat myself to one of them actually. I've seen this site, 80s casuals. Yeah,
It's been going years, mate.
I saw it going through Facebook. And I thought it was.
You were involved. You were involved. You know that what that film? Fucking
inside. So what's really inside the Satan shoes? Mischief says it's some ink and 1 drop of human blood. And when you shake the shoe, you can hear it move. And when you wear the shoe, you can feel the liquid. These are creepy. So what's really inside the Satan shoes?
Jackets are all right. But I like their tops. I like, actually, I
well,
like
look,
that.
if you press
And Doc Martens.
press reject all cookies, and see where it
Yeah.
says reject all cookies, then red bits at the bottom.
Hey, let's look at the feeler feet.
Easy, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
If you press reject all cookies, yeah. Right,
There you go.
Oh, I don't get all that for some reason.
jackets, yeah, let's go to jackets. Come on, man. Search it. I've got a wardrobe for fucking.
I was showing it all. I just realised.
Jackets. Here we go.
Oh, mate, wait till you see this shit. Like the Gabardini, the fucking, you know, it's got all sorts. Sergio, Vila. Oh, fucking look at this shit.
That's a nice fit. You can tell that's a nice fit. I might get my son one of these actually.
Yeah, good, hey, they're a good fit as well when you get them, and they're really, really.
Oh, look at that one.
Oh, look at them. Yeah, I've got one of them.
Look at them. That's fucking nice. That is.
The Gabici, yeah.
Actually, I like the brown one actually. I might treat myself to one of them actually. I've seen this site, 80s casuals. Yeah,
It's been going years, mate.
I saw it going through Facebook. And I thought it was.
You were involved. You were involved. You know that what that film? Fucking
Inside. So what's really inside the Satan shoes? Mischief says it's some ink and 1 drop of human blood. And when you shake the shoe, you can hear it move. And when you wear the shoe, you can feel the liquid. These are creepy. So what's really inside the Satan shoes?
no. The business, right?
Oh, okay.
He was the guy who owns this was involved in it, and
Okay.
given like certain things to wear during certain scenes.
Yeah. Do you know what? I stopped wearing the stuff. I've got loads of Stone Island. Now I see these stupid little kids wearing the fake ones. I don't fucking wear it.
Oh, poking it.
Yeah. It's because I've lost a lot of weight. I can wear these clothes again now.
Yeah.
Because you got to be quite skinny to wear these clothes.
No, not really. No, they're pretty true to size. Whatever you get.
Yeah, but they're a tight fit, aren't they?
No, they're really good, honestly.
No one wants to talk to you in fact,
Unless you're a fat bastard.
See, I'm a bit funny. I don't like any clothes tight on me, like jeans or.
No, I'm like that.
These well, get yourself measured and fucking whatever and see what size you are. These days, then you fat. There's no point in fucking thinking your measurements was 20 years ago. But honestly, some nice stuff in there. The brands, honestly, really, really.
Yeah.
Got some really.
I assume it's all guys.
I went.
No, it's you.
Oh, the trainers.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can use it with unisex, really, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
Sergio, I got some of them. And, anyway, look at these.
I don't like them. Fucking, they're awful.
Oh, no.
They're
Like
They're
them.
like granddad things.
No, they're a bit like classic ones. Don't go to trainers.
All right, okay. Calm down. There you go. If you don't feel the trainers are so cheap these days, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I still love that stuff.
I don't like them.
You know, he's can I make a confession?
Yeah.
I've got a bit of a fucking bit of an obsession with Adidas shit.
Really?
Oh, no.
There's something about Adidas.
I just love the style of the trainers and
I find them a bit narrow. On
I
the
don't like big clumpy things on my feet. That's fucking
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Adidas, yeah. The tops are good, like the t-shirts and that.
Have you seen them fucking trainers called what do you call Z's or something? Where they look like a fucking cloud, like they're on fucking spring. Something about look like fucking. Oh, you might have bricks on your feet, man. Fuck's sake.
It's like everybody went mad at these Yeezys of what kind of West made. They were fucking shit. £400 for a pair, they were. For a pair of trainers, and they were shit. They looked like shit.
Who's Viking? He says Adidas all day. I dream about sex though. Listen, mate. In my world, he stands for after dinner. I did a shit.
If you're talking about trainers, the cost for me for trainers.
Yeah, nice them, aren't
Do you know why? Because they last longer as well. I've got a pair of Lacoste. I've had them for 5 years. You know that, and they're not worn at all. Like worn out. I've worn them quite a bit as well.
they? Leather is fake.
Leather.
Oh, that's why, innit?
They're
Yeah,
really
by reading it, was there a trainer brand that had blood in the sole? Looked like, it's made to look like it was blood.
Yeah, they're called Fox Hunting Specials.
Yeah.
No, they ended up in a big argument with another company who tried to copy them.
I don't know.
That's intrigued me now. I'm going to have to look.
The trouble with that with their trainers, they're so fucking outrageous. And they do some stupid designs.
Who do?
Adidas.
No, they do some lovely ones, man. I love them. I have to disagree on that one, mate.
When I was little, I like to, you know.
Is there any point? The disingenuous Jamie. The fraud. The deception. The fake, dangerous man. The impersonator. The deceiver. The one with malicious intentions. The disingenuous, did I say that? The insincere. The liar. The fraud. Clyde. Who have I been doing this and that to? Who have I been doing? Let's just ask all the questions. Let's just come and abuse. Let's just cover up child abuse. And then let's just keep projecting all sorts of questions and all sorts of. Let's just see if we can. How long can we keep them running around? We've almost done it 10 years now, lads. When did I get recruited? I forget when I was recruited. I was really heavy in the drugs at that point. I was really heavy in the drugs at that point. Fucking can actually relate to you a little bit in certain aspects, but my intentions. This is the difference. I may have had a drug issues, though my intentions were always to try and align to the good. I'm not saying always. I mean, there was some selfish moments for sure. Some self-pitying moments for sure. For the record, Clyde, for the record, you are the record. You are the record of inversion, of satanic deception on this Satan day. I'll look at the date, yeah? 18th of the 10th. And what did we have on those shoes? So Nike wins. Nike wins court bid over Satan shoes with human blood. Nike has won its lawsuit against Brooklyn Art Collection over their controversial Satan shoes that contained a drop of real human blood in the soles. The £740 trainers are modified Nike Air Max 97s, a feature an inverted cross, a pentagram, and the words Luke 10:18 on them. Lil Nas X shoes and a lawsuit.
I bought the shoes because I knew the resale value on the shoes was going to be pretty high because of its popularity and also the recent controversies surrounding the shoes. Actually, in the past, have usually thought collecting sneakers was a little bit weird. I've never been into it. But I've been a longtime fan of Mischief. I am definitely more into the counterculture kind of aspect of Mischief. That's what I really love about them. None of their drops seemingly make sense. They're all going against the mainstream. They're all pushing the boundaries.
I happen to be LGBTQ and atheist, so for those two reasons alone, I wanted to support a black gay man who is attempting to, show a different narrative in a majority Christian country that currently is dealing with a lot of issues with black people.
What I do know is that it would significantly hurt the artist community. It really has the potential to ruin a lot of people's livelihoods and crush a lot of artistic expression, because a huge market of sneakers and artistry in general is reselling and customizing blank canvases like shoes. Thankfully, they seem like they don't really care about the lawsuit, and I feel like that's been their attitude in general, is that if you're gonna sue us, just come at us. We're gonna support our fans and we're gonna support the mission of the art collective.
Well, I can't really judge on face value, but we will just go to the actual verse, because this is the interesting bit. Why they extracted it and what is the actual significance of what. They need Satan shoes on there. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. But oh, actually, it gives the whole supposed. So it talks about all these different places, and I looked up a lot of the different meanings of. So Capernaum, this is the interesting, the last one, just before this verse comes in to say about the lightning fall from heaven as Satan. And thou Capernaum, which the word Capernaum is a town, but it also has a parable significance. So it's in that area, where it all went down lake, supposedly. Apostle Peter means village of Nahum. So Nahum in Hebrew, which I looked up as well, is comfort. So the name Nahum, comfort or consolation, derived from the Hebrew Nachem. And it signifies comfort or to console. So, and there's another interesting the elaborated definition of comfort, and it actually had repentance here somewhere yesterday. It's a boy's name, Nahum, derived from the Bible, and means to comfort. comforter, but it also it had repentance. It did have repentance. So this came before, and it was to do with pride. There was this other town that it talks about. It's interesting. It's got a bit from the Maxims here as well. For the labourer is worthy of his hire. And in the same house remain eating and drinking such things as they give, for the labourer is worthy of his hire. Go not from house to house, and into whatsoever city ye enter, and they receive you. Eat such things as are set before you, and heal the sick that are therein, and say unto them, the kingdom of God is come nigh unto you. But into whatsoever city ye enter, and they receive you not, go your ways out into the streets of the same, and say, even the very dust of your city, which cleaveth on us, we do wipe off against you. Notwithstanding, but yea, sure of this, that the kingdom of God is come nigh unto you. But I say unto you, that it shall be more tolerable in the day of Sodom than for this city. Woe unto thee, Chorazin! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida! Woe if the mighty works have been done in Tyre and Sidon. And this was where the pride, and they were really good carpenters, but it was like a what do you call it, a trade port, which have been done unto you. They had a great while also all ago repented, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. But it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon that at the judgment than for you. And thou, so this is to do with holding on to riches rather than, it's 14, Luke 10:14. But it'd be more tolerable. So actually, they actually did repented, and they went back. You know, they humbled themselves in sackcloth and ashes, whatever that means. We could look that up. But it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the judgment than for you. And thou, Capernaum, which art exalted to heaven, shalt be thrust down to hell. That he that heareth you heareth me, and he that despiseth you despiseth me, and he that despiseth me despiseth him that sent me. Bit of a tongue twistery sort of one, but we could get to that again after maybe. And the 70 returned again with joy, saying, Lord, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. And this is the one that's on the shoes, Luke 10:18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So it's interesting. What it'd be lovely. I'd love to speak to the people who made the shoes and find out really whether they had any nefarious intentions or they did interpret this in a way that they could. I mean, the whole atheist and transgender thing, it's obviously does raise definite kind of, well, it's a bit I mean it's all sorts of very not touchy subjects. I don't want to be rude, but kind of potentially cringy sort of personal sexual endeavors that people partake in under these premises. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding, in this rejoice not that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. So just to explain just before that, so the 70 returned. So where did the 70? So 70 evangelists. After these things, the Lord appointed on other 70 also, and sent them to. Actually, before we see if anyone's commented, but people might already know about this. Not sure what Dookie's reference to the law is there, but we'll just take it on face value. That is, it's not really a laughing matter, but I suppose it's kind of, we've got to refrain from Schadenfreude regarding depending on how remorseful you are for your actions in the Sudoku, you're definitely by far no way near in the same camp as a lot of these people. See, this is just intimidation techniques. This is a man who rang my sister, phoned my sister out. My sister reported him to the police. And he hasn't phoned back since, thankfully. As Gary was going to do a follow-up letter to my parents, they reported that. He hasn't done so, but he's done some horrific abusive things since then as well. Even just yesterday, lying straight up to Michaela, which Michaela regurgitated as a reality. Oh, I meant to reply, baby. Sorry. Thank you. Lovely. Enjoy your dinner. Lovely. Clyde feels for me. It's vitally important to listen to these streams. Yeah, of course it is. It's not comfortable. It's been painful. Here we've got 1000%. That's a lot of percentage. That's 10 times the whole percentage. That's awesome. How we got Mike Cunt, just a rude bastard, aren't you, Bops? Jamie Barnes, you can't snap out of it. You're just such a Rudy. But then again, this Esau, as we know him, maybe our friend. I won't go saying the names that we've got names, but well, no, I should do really. I'd like to tweet it. If you are Myron Francis, that'd be great. But we've got all sorts of ideas, aren't there, of who you might be. But it'd be lovely if everyone could just come clean and just present as your real selves. You know, if people you just trust that you could be showing forgiveness for anything that you've done that you feel you're in jeopardy. You know, your safety is in jeopardy over. Well, that's not very nice. That's you have to check the register for that, won't you? Or is that about? What are you talking about, Esau? But no, there's a lot of issues with corruption at the moment, and these things are being addressed. I mean, there is a possibility that Esau is actually a transgender. It's possible, and we shouldn't hold anything against anybody for anything that they have become part of. An apology. When did you like what she did? Oh, Babs, you're just unreal. But yeah, Nahum. So let's have a look at the so it relates to solace and reassurance. But it also, what's the other one? Sorry, to be sorry. You may have missed it, Babs. Did you see the verse that we were reading and the shoes? Did you see the shoes? with the blood in. Valerie Stroud, Moon, Teddy, she noted that it reminded me, I already knew about these shoes that had, there was an art project and Nike actually sued the company or the art company thingy for creating some Satan shoes with a drop of human blood in mixed with some red ink in the sole of the shoe. So here we've got the Book of Nahum, also known as the Burden of Nineveh, and it describes the fall of the Assyrian capital Nineveh to the Babylonians in 612 BC. From Nahum, we learned that the author is from Elkosh, where that was exactly is known, that was exactly is unknown, although several locations have been opted. One of the options is the town better known as Capernaum, meaning village of Nahum, which means contested, but that's where that remains contested. Note that the name Nahum is spelled the same as the name Nahum and was virtually the same name until both names were punctuated in the Middle Ages. However, by the time the Septuagint was written, that's the Torah, is it Torah? Or was it beginning of some part of the Bible? These two names were already considered different for unknown reasons. The authors of the Septuagint translated the name Nahum as Naum and Nahum as Inaum. An ancestor of Jesus Christ, according to Luke, also spelled Luke 3:25. His name appears about halfway between Jesus and Zerubbabel, the leader of the great return from the Babylonian exile, which started around 638. The name Nahum is the short version of the name Nehemiah. Both names fabulously interested in the root, meaning either sorrow, repentance, or comfort. Nahum. So I wish you all Nahum, great Nahum, and myself for any things I may have Nahum for. Maybe I should Nahum for. So it's good. It's a good state to be in, I think, to be sorry. You know, to be, because I mean, especially the you know, most of us grew up eating animals and, you know, consuming the suffering and torture of beings. So to and we may even be in that situation still, some of us, where we might feel like we're still conditioned, or we're habitually partaking in actual eating the suffering and violence towards innocent babies and adult animals. So that's something we need to address as soon as possible. So we've got history.
Did Ingrid Newkirk.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Very nice to see you here in this auspicious hall. Those were just 20 of our most recent victories, and it's only thanks to these lovely, wonderful supporters we have that we can do so much, and we can do so much more than this. In the summer, when it was so hot, we had an exhibit called The Council of the Animals: What to Do About the Humans on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. It was directly under the Capitol, and it was really, really hot, so we bribed all the humans with shade and popsicles. You know Edward James Olmos. He's the Golden Globe winning actor who starred in Miami Vice and Blade Runner, and he is a super kind man. And he recorded the coyote's voice that was part of this exhibit. Behind the exhibit was the Capitol, and that's the building where members of Congress meet to make sure that nothing useful passes into law ever. Actually, there is a breakthrough because a member of Congress has introduced a bill that would ban speed trap cameras. We can all get behind that one. But let me play you a part of the coyote's speech.
Dear friends, we are gathered here today to discuss the problem of humanity, a problem we have faced for a long time. Humans must recognize that all living, feeling beings have inherent value and deserve consideration, kindness, understanding, and respect. If humans begin to understand us, they might finally acknowledge us as their brothers and sisters on the planet. Let's say to them, human beings, you have the power to positively impact all species in ways big and small. We are asking you, our fellow inhabitants of this unique, bright blue planet, to leave today with renewed respect for all of us. Remember, we're all in this together.
I especially wish that every young person could hear this talk, because civil society seems to get less and less civil. And we hear some absolutely awful cases of children being cruel to animals. And that's why we have our PETA 2 and our PETA Kids programs. We take Carly, the talking cow, into schools, and Ellie, the talking elephant, and they relate to the kids. The kids absolutely adore them. And all of them sit very attentively and listen to the presentations, because our presentations come with vegan chicken sandwiches and vegan ice cream. And it's a bonus because a lot of the children we deal with are lactose intolerant and they have never had ice cream. And they go home and they tell their parents, and for the first time, they're very happy. And they say, if you can make people happy, they're more likely to learn. So we do. But back to the National Mall. A small group of frat boy types, and I won't mention the name of the group, but some of you may figure it out. I never dignify them with the name of their group. They were funded originally by people who were fighting the tobacco ban, and then they were funded by the circus industry and the furriers and so on. You know who I mean. They came down to the exhibit at the opening and tried to disrupt it, but they left with their tails between their legs. Now, I almost wish they'd hung around, because right after they left, there was this massive thunderstorm, and the statues are all metal. Just saying. But it did bring back memories of when Peter moved to Norfolk, Virginia. Our office is on the really beautiful Elizabeth River, and a local fishing club got panicky when they heard we were coming, and they decided to hold the first annual anti-Peter fishing tournament. Some of the boats had deer heads mounted on them. Some of them had moondas, which was really charming. And one boat had a sign on it that read, "My fishing rod is my direct line to heaven." Well, after about half an hour, during which they caught 0 fish, a thunderstorm came out of nowhere, and right down that direct line to heaven came a bolt of lightning. Nobody was hurt except the boat, but we decided, well, maybe God is actually on our side. It was the very first and the very last anti-Peter fishing tournament they ever held. We have a book program for the children who live in the really deeply impoverished areas of Lower Virginia, Upper North Carolina, where we go out into the field and we spay and we neuter thousands of dogs, mostly chained up in the backyard, most of them pit bulls, although this isn't a pit bull. We also give away humane education packs to budget-stretched teachers, And we do that all over the world. We have packs in Hindi and Spanish and Arabic, you name it. And we do all this because we believe what Henry Bergh, the founder of the first SPCA in the United States, believed. In the early 1900s, he was severely criticized for teaching children to be kind to animals. And people said to him, how can you be doing this when rape and murder and all these things are happening to humans? And he said, if you teach a child to be kind to a caterpillar, you do as much for the child as for the caterpillar. In other words, if you teach a child to be kind to a mere insect, then it should be far easier for them to relate to human beings. So even if you don't care about animals, it's a good thing to do. So where should we draw the line when it comes to animals? Bill Maher was asked once if PETA doesn't go too far. And he said, well, if you never cross the line, how will you ever know where it is? And when it comes to animals, I think the lines are drawn in the wrong places, like this. At PETA, we do a lot of things by the book, as you know. But if we have to step over that line, we certainly will. Because sometimes rules deserve to be broken. Or like this. These are our girls on Victoria Beckham's runway. I love them so much. We had 4 of them come out in quick succession, and the guards didn't know what to do. But you'll see her. She turns around very quickly, and here he goes. And we've been on all the shows. So sometimes in an interview, I'm asked, where do you animal rights people draw the line? Do you swat mosquitoes? And it's annoying, because it's a bit like the old question that we used to be asked. And I think people ask these questions because they don't want to answer the simple proposition that you're putting to them, that they might want to stop eating animals, for example, just because they're of a different species. But the old idiotic thing we used to hear all the time was, if a house was on fire and you could only save one, a dog or a human being, which would you save? And my favorite answer came from Berkeley Breathitt. He was on a radio show and he said, depends. And the radio show host was astonished and he said, depends on what? One is a human being. And Berkeley said, yeah, but what if one was Lassie? And the other one was Osama bin Laden. So the question is, where do we draw the line? And this evening, I'm going to talk about the smallest of small animals, not mice, whom I love to pieces. They're the dearest, humblest, gentlest of life forms, but other animals that we often don't think about at all. Jonas Salk said, if all the insects were to disappear from the earth, within 50 years, all life on earth would end. If human beings disappeared from the earth, within 50 years, all forms of life would flourish. So, let's start with ticks. It's really hard to feel any empathy for a tick. What they do is they impose huge fines on human beings who go hiking in what they clearly consider their turf, their territory. So on July the 4th, 2020, I foolishly disregarded their territoriality and I entered one of their habitats, thick woods in Virginia. There were no signs like this, which would have been helpful. When I came out, I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever and Ehrlichia, which I thought only dogs got, but no. I thought about this a lot, and I wondered maybe I was collateral damage. in the ticks' battle against human encroachment? Or perhaps, what if ticks thought that what they had given me were wonderful gifts? You know, you shouldn't let your cat outside unattended, but if they do and they bring back a mole's head, they think that's pretty fabulous, and you go, ugh, you know, don't want it. So one person's treasure is another person's trash. I was very upset at my medical bills. They were substantial. But then the ticks made up for it all. Along came the Lone Star tick. One bite from a Lone Star tick, and anyone who tries to consume red meat, pork, or dairy gets an allergic reaction like this. Or worse, far worse. So the amazing Lone Star tick is responsible for turning more people into vegans than finding out what goes into a hot dog. And Peter decided to help afflicted people cope with their new allergies by issuing a new cookbook. See how cute that tick is? Made from an avocado with little asparagus legs. Lars Chitka wrote in the Scientific American that while insects have been regarded as automatons, we have made some startling discoveries about their minds. He said insects are as conscious and aware as any dog, ape, or human being. I mean, who knows what this dear fellow is actually thinking about? Now, some of you may remember Paul Harvey. He had a radio show, if you think back to those times, called The Rest of the Story. I was in Chicago, and Paul's son, Paul Harvey Jr., was there, and he came up to me and he told me that when he was 7, he went into the bathroom in the middle of the night, and there was a spider on the floor. And he picked up his bedroom slipper, and he went to whack the spider, and as he looked, the spider did this. And he said, for the first time in his life, he realized that spider knew that he was about to die. He had the same sort of thought, and he never thought of insects the same way again. Chitka says, ants rescue nestmates buried under rubble. They dig away very carefully. They realize where the danger of causing injury lies. And ants use dead reckoning. And that's the trusted method of calculating your position based on time, speed, and distance. Here's a close-up of an ant's face. As much to say, here's looking at you, kid. Unlike human hikers, ants never get lost. And here's why. They make sure that they look back when they're leaving wherever they're leaving, their little house or whatever. They leave their starting point, turn around, see where they came from, so that they can have that view on the return journey. And they look down to judge their speed, and catch this, they count the number of steps they're taking at that speed. And we know this because experimenters at the Max Planck Institute in Germany proved it. And you know how they proved it? They cut the ants' legs off and moved them from the path, which is in stark contrast to what ants do. They go to rescue an ant when they get into trouble. Some London University researchers, I'm not sure who gave them money to do this, but it's kind of nice. They made little carousels and tiny wooden balls as toys for insects. And they found that flies like to ride on the carousels for fun, and that bumblebees will give up food to amuse themselves rolling the little wooden balls around, with young bumblebees rolling the balls around more than the staid, older bumblebees. In Chicago, I told that story, and a woman came up to me afterwards. She had just graduated from college, and she showed me that she had a tattoo, a rather large tattoo of a bumblebee on her arm. And she said, I want to tell you why I have this. She said, my last experiment, before I left school, the professor made us hurt and eventually kill bumblebees, and they didn't die well. And she said, I had this tattooed on my arm to remind myself that was the last animal I will ever kill. Somebody talked to me about dung beetles before this began. Dung beetles navigate by the Milky Way while walking backwards as they labor to push that ball home. Incredible. Their determination and their perseverance are so well respected that in Tende National Park in Africa, you will find signs like this one, and they mean it. You'll get locked up if you run over these beetles. Thanks to other researchers, we know that locusts can visually estimate the distances between rungs on a tiny ladder. And as for bees, let me read you what Melissa Sanger, a student in entomology, wrote to us. And she wrote this to the Los Angeles Times as well. I am angry that people keep bees at all. When humans smoke them out of their hives, they disorient them and they kill many. Bees do not make honey for human consumption. They make it and they store it so they will have something to eat when there aren't many flowers in bloom. It's the equivalent of canning fresh vegetables from your garden to eat over the winter. And imagine having an intruder steal most of what you worked so hard to make to sustain your family. Just as people think shearing sheep is just a haircut, when our videos show the enormous injuries that are caused to these gentle sheep, so people don't realize that beekeepers use a wire brush after they smoke the bees out. They fall to the floor on the ledge outside the hive, and they sweep them away, tearing off their wings and tearing off their legs, simply so that we can steal the honey and the propolis that they have so industriously made to sustain the health of their own family. You know that bees also communicate extremely complex directions to each other, and they defend their bee families with their very lives, and they too can count. And they even recognize the sophisticated concept, the mathematical concept of zero. Bees also learn complex tasks by observation alone, the way an octopus learns how to unscrew a jar by watching someone do it. And most important of all, insects experience both pleasure and pain, as all living beings do. 90 years ago, in 1934, The New Yorker published an article on the grasshopper's vital role in grassland preservation. And what was extremely interesting to me is the author railed about the grasshopper's high intelligence. And let me take a sidebar here. Most people do understand finally that there's something deleterious to eating chickens and pigs and cows and so on. Maybe it's an environmental impact, maybe it's their health, maybe it's cruelty. But they are apparently unaware that we have no protein deficiency in this country, and they're all protein mad. They haven't a clue that a single potato contains more protein than one egg, and it's not a cholesterol bomb like an egg. And they are so desperate now, you've heard this, for animal protein, we must have animal protein, that they have turned to eating insects. I want to show you a different picture. This is a picture of a grasshopper who is killed to decorate a cupcake. His little front legs, you will see, are wrapped around a raspberry. And if you think about it, his life must have been precious to him. It was taken from him and he was turned into an ornament for some frivolous human indulgence. I mentioned that children can be unthinkingly cruel, but I also believe that most children relate to other animals beautifully. And my theory is that it's perhaps they too relate because they're small and what they say is often ignored. They're not paid attention to. This is Amy Skylark. She's a PETA member. She's grown up now. She tells a story about how when she was a tot, a tawny-colored slug appeared on her windowsill, and he would glide in and out of her mother's terrarium. Amy was only 4 years old when the slug came into her life, and she named him Fufu. And she considered him her first companion animal. She even built him a Lincoln log cabin, but he preferred her mother's terrarium. Most mornings, she would see this glistening trail that she assumed led back to Fufu's wife and children. One day, word had it that her uncle was going to perform a magic trick, and she loved magic, so she elbowed her way through her relatives and got to the front just in time to hear her uncle say, "Abracadabra," and sprinkle salt on Fufu. So he melted in front of her into this little greasy stain. Amy says, "Fufu's cruel death had a profound effect on me. It awakened my compassion. It sparked a belief in me and the sanctity of all animal life. I became a bug bouncer, gently escorting insects from my house. And no slug was ever again killed with salt or drowned in beer on my watch. To this day, I'm still awfully fond of slugs." You have to wonder that if slugs and snails were the size of the giant African snail, people like Amy's uncle might think differently of being mean to them. Size can be a very terrible and unfair disadvantage, and it's meaningless when it comes to sentience. But the glistening snail trail can tell a story, a detective story. And once, and this is true, somebody had 2 snails. One was robust, one was frail, and they released them both together into this very sparse garden. But next door was this beautiful, lush garden over a wall. So the next morning, their liberator came downstairs and went out to check on them, and she saw these glistening trails. There was one thick trail that went up over the wall, which showed that the robust snail had gone over the wall that divided the 2 gardens, then having obviously discovered that there was lots to eat next door, had come all the way back. And snails, you can imagine how long this took, move at 0.029 miles an hour, came back and obviously delivered the message to the weaker snails, because you could then see the parallel thick and thin trails disappearing back over the wall into the lush garden. That is altruism. That is something the Max Planck Institute experimenters could take a lesson from. Snails, which I'll try not to go on endlessly about snails, but they do many impressive things. And for instance, if they sense that a fierce storm is coming, they actually protect themselves by building a barrier to the opening of their shell, by making a polymer gel that they put there. And then they make a second set of polymer gel barrier, sort of like double glazing, so they can protect themselves. They also work collectively when they're in trouble. The United States Department of Agriculture is not our favorite agency in the government, although there's stiff competition for that. They issued a warning to commercial snail transporters to tightly secure the tops of containers. They said snails, seeing that they're trapped, will move to the top of the container together and, working as one, push on the lid to crack it open, and then head for the hills or the nearest lettuce patch. I did used to eat snails, I have to confess, and I once bought a bag of live ones at an Italian market. I can't cook for toffee, but he told me it was very easy to do. I put the bag on the seat, passenger seat, and I drove home, and I got this weird feeling that I was being watched. And I looked over, and yes, they had all come to the top of the paper bag, pushed it open, and they were all looking up at me very accusingly. So I let them go at the bottom of my garden, which I am sure violated a federal law of some sort. I doubt I would have ever eaten snails if someone had shown me this. This is a picture of a Singapore sea snail pretending to be a lionfish, so he won't be eaten. And I certainly doubt I would have eaten snails if someone had shown me this video of a little snail enjoying a bath. George Carlin once told a joke about animal rights activists. He said, "We're the kind of people who, to get rid of cockroaches, would develop a spray. The spray wouldn't kill the cockroaches. It would just fill them with enough self-doubt that they'd go somewhere else to think things over." In a piece I had published in The Guardian, the UK newspaper, I wrote this. As one of those animal rights people who expounds on the virtues and benefits of being decent to all sentient beings, I'm often asked, where do you draw the line? What about insects? My answer used to go something like this. Well, we all know that cows and chickens and fish and mice and octopuses and lobsters and crabs feel pain and fear. So if we're going to draw the line somewhere, we cannot exclude them. But what you do about insects, I'm not really sure. Then one morning, I went into the kitchen to make coffee, and there, by the counter on the sink, was a cockroach. He or she or they, I don't know, must have come off the drain looking for something to eat. I'm about 5'6". I weigh about 120 pounds. He was about, I don't know, less than a centimeter tall and probably weighed less than a thumbtack. He spotted me at the same time I spotted him, and he hightailed it to the nearest thing he could find, which was a sugar container. There was silence. Nothing moved. So I peered over the top of the container, and there he was, pressed up against the back of it like this. I could almost imagine him holding his breath, hoping I wouldn't notice him, trying not to be spotted, hoping I'd go away. I mean, wouldn't that be what any of us would do when a giant predator came our way? Something our ancestors had to do when these babies were around. I love that film so much. Some people will dismiss my perspective as anthropomorphic, but they would actually be thinking anthropocentrically, believing that humans are the only life forms who experience fear and other feelings, and thinking themselves so vastly more important than everyone else, in much the same way that people used to believe that the sun revolved around the earth, and we have Copernicus to thank for setting us straight. We need to get over ourselves. Don't feel too bad, son. People are only screaming because they're such big fans. People often disregard the feelings of those that we don't easily relate to. Sometimes it's other humans based on race, gender, age, or other totally arbitrary criteria. But it is bonkers to believe that humans are the only ones who think and feel and count. We aren't special in ways that really matter. Most animals cherish their offspring. They feel lonely if their partner dies, and they jump for joy. Yes. One more. Yes. If you burn an insect with a cigarette, like this beauty, of course they feel pain. And if insects were automatons, cockroaches wouldn't have learned not to eat certain baits, much to the chagrin of pest control companies. And that cockroach that I met in my kitchen wouldn't have been able to figure out that there was a threat, calculate an escape route, and hide. Leafcutter ants wouldn't be able to build jaw-droppingly massive underground fungus farms, which they weed and they mulch and they cultivate and they harvest to feed entire colonies of millions of ants. And when people say, no, of course it can't be, their brains are too small for all that calculating, you can simply remind them of those enormous rooms that used to house massive computers, now replaced by a teeny tiny chip. I ended the Guardian piece by writing this. I have stopped giving a milquetoast answer to the question of where I draw the line. Now I say, you know, insects think and feel. So if we ever have an option to avoid harming them, why not go for it? What if the spider you killed in your home had spent his entire life thinking you were his roommate? Ever think about that? And if insects do come into your home, Peter has a wonderful humane guide, non-lethal, non-chemical guide that can help them decide to please go somewhere else and think things over. The nice mice too. The point of all this is that if we can understand that, as Henry Berg said, even the tiniest animal is sentient, counts. Look at this little fellow having his lunch. Yeah? And next to him, I took this picture of another insect eating some pudding. And she was really enjoying it. It's only our fears and our prejudices that allow us to be unthinkingly cruel to insects. And if we can't possibly justify ever continuing to pay somebody to bludgeon animals to death so we can have a sandwich. And I put a dog there because we've done undercover investigations in China where we saw exactly that for meat and for leather. We can't justify taking a cow's beloved child away from them so that they can have dairy cheese topping on our pizzas. I mean, really. We can't justify stealing the skin and the hair off animals' backs for our shoes and our jackets. We can't justify buying things that are tested by ulcerating rabbits' eyes. And we can't ever take our children to see caged animals. It's what Henry Berg was getting at. When you teach someone to be kind to a small, unfamiliar being, who's in a very different body perhaps than your own, it makes it far easier to relate to others whose eyes you can look into, and whose resemblance to yourself you can see if you look like this.
We are all the same, in all the ways that matter. It doesn't matter what we look like, how old we are, what language we speak, or who we love. It doesn't matter if we have fur, or feathers, or fins, the length of our nose, or the number of legs. We're not different in any important way. We all have thoughts and feelings. We all feel love and pain, and loneliness, and joy. We can all understand, but we are not always understanding. We experience ourselves as separate from the rest, but none of us deserves to be treated with less respect. Our task must be to break free from prejudice and to see ourselves in everyone else.
It's such a good film, such a good film. You don't need anything else. So everyone here, I'm sure, knows the painting by Edvard Munch called The Scream. And most people think it's a person screaming, but it's not. The full title is The Scream of Nature. And that person is covering their ears from what Munch called the enormous infinite scream of nature. Nature is where all those insects live. It's where billions of bigger animals live, and where they should live instead of on chains and in factory farms and laboratory cages. And where, although we wish desperately to forget it, we lived not long ago, and some of us still do. Our kind has caused their screams, and our kind has to stop covering our ears. We have to get cracking. And we have to cross that speciesist line so we can help protect every animal who experiences trauma at human hands. We can care or not care about grasshoppers or ants, that there can't be any debate whatsoever about the birds, about mammals, about octopuses, and all the others. And we have to grow our movements so that if you change, please don't stop there. It's not enough. We have to give everyone else information. And remember, all information distributed is seeds planted. And if the words sometimes seem to fall on deaf ears, don't be discouraged. It's not failure. It's only success delayed. Because the listener invariably files away that information. And sometimes you will never know who you've influenced. Last year, there was a massive demonstration in Australia. People sat in the street. It was against restaurants serving meat, and they had pictures of what happens to the animals on the way to the table. And they had signs that said, "This is a peaceful protest. Please go vegan." There was a radio show host who was stuck in the traffic that they stopped. And she was livid because she had a show to do. And she was trying to get to the studio, and she couldn't. But when she got to the studio, she finally got on the air, and she told her listeners this. She said, "I was so angry. I sat there in my car, and I read these demonstrators' signs. And then I thought, hang on, wait, this is because of me. This is my fault." And she told her listeners, "I've decided to go vegan." If you say something, if you do something, things change. Never doubt it. Or to put it another way, as Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. So in the fall fashion shows in Paris, Jun Takahashi, who is the celebrated creator of probably Japan's most trendy label called Undercover, which I am not wearing today, sent models down the runway wearing terrarium dresses that contained live butterflies. So we wrote to him and we said, "Please don't do things like that again." And here's part of what he wrote back. He said, "I came up with the idea of a terrarium dress for the finale of my show, to put artificial roses inside a transparent dress and have live butterflies fluttering around. I thought the idea was very beautiful. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was worried about the butterflies. About 20 years ago, I lost my grandmother. At the funeral, I went to a river nearby, and a white butterfly flew to me and didn't leave my side. And that experience made me feel so happy, thinking that my grandmother was coming closer to me. Since then, butterflies have often come to my side. Even though making the dress was such a memorable experience, I felt guilty. Yet I did decide to put butterflies in the dress. It's true, I was worried that a notice like yours from Peter would arrive someday. After the show, we went to the park and we released the butterflies, but, as you said, and as I thought somewhere deep in my heart, this act was a mistake. I regret that I trapped butterflies that could fly freely in the sky, and I promise never to use butterflies or any other living animals in my creations again. Something said or written, something done. And there are growing signs that showing kindness to the least of them is now understood to be a very good sign of character. If you didn't see the fabulous movie 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which I thoroughly recommend, Frances McDermott's character gently rights an insect that she sees lying on its back, and they kept that in the film. She is, a good character in the film, and they thought it fit. Sarah Silverman was talking on her blog a little time back, and a fly lighted on the back of her hand, and she interrupted her, whatever she was doing, to take the fly to the window and let him go. So I am trying to make the case that human beings and other animals may indeed be different, but we're not superior, unless you count waging wars, which we're really, really good at, pollution, good at that too, and causing the climate crisis, good at that too, as superior. In fact, when it comes to being characterized as pests, I happen to think that humans are the peskiest creatures of all. He says, this is probably how they keep getting in. Finally, one other way to look at this is how George Bernard Shaw put it. In 1900, he gave a series of lectures in Queen's Hall, London, on the unspeakable things that experimenters do and try to justify doing to animals in the name of helping humans. And Shaw said, the place to draw the line of what's acceptable isn't between bipeds and others, but between civilized and barbarous behavior. And the real argument is not over which species is involved, but over our own conduct. We must apply the test of character and ask ourselves, if I do this, what sort of person must I be? We stopped those experiments. This audience is composed of the right sort of people, so I have to ask you to please take pamphlets and magazines with you. We've got as many as you could possibly ever need. Order them from us. They're all free. Leave them at the gym, the dentist's office, anywhere you go. Talk to everyone, please, about animal issues. In the grocery line is a good place. Trapped in the elevator is really good. Educate to liberate. Use these stickers on little libraries and everywhere. Use social media to spread the word. Show Riz's video on social media. Give vegan foods to people who, without your intervention, would probably otherwise never bother or even think to try them. Maybe la-di-da foie gras, maybe tasty soy sausages, a vegan pudding, or maybe a vegan cheese pizza. And please, don't let me be the only annoying person who rolls down the window and talks to people who are yanking their dog hastily down the pavement when they want to simply relieve themselves or talk to another dog. You have to ask yourselves, who is the more intelligent person on which end of the leash? Give animal rights message gifts for every occasion, because one can make a difference, and even onesie can make a difference. Ask people to go vegan for your birthday. I mean, they asked what you wanted, didn't they? How can they say no? And crush cans, put the lids back on jars, and I found a struggling insect caught in the sticky paper that is on the envelope of a Federal Express thing that I had thrown in the trash. So now I make sure that all sticky things are crushed. Here's a video. My hope is to leave you with the message that, as Andy Warhol said, times will change, but only if you change them. And my last words are these. I am not asking anyone to coddle insects. No, you can't just stand on it for a little bit before I eat it. But a line has been created that shouldn't exist between humans and all other forms of life. So please, let's each of us resolve to do all we can to blur that line, to convince people to treat every single living being with consideration. Because after all, it never hurt anyone to be kind. Thank you.
This is the same fucking MP, yeah, says no racism is not in this place. When he was asked, is it just this game you're on about? He goes, no, they should be banned from everywhere. Well, it's fucking disgusting. It's not his fucking country, yeah. It's not him to fucking decide. And basically, if you not and it's fucking.
I just think it's fucking disgusting. Their excuse said it's the safety of the behaviour of the Hafa fans. Well, you're going to tell me then you're going to ban every football game where if Liverpool are playing Man United tomorrow, are they banning Man United fans? No. Are they banning other fans? No. They're banning them because they're fucking Jewish. Yeah? And that's all it is. Because they can't guarantee their safety, so the police say in Birmingham. Well, we all know Aston. If you go to Aston Villa's ground, it's heavily populated Muslim area. Yeah. So basically, they've had threats from radicals saying if they turn up, they're most probably fucking scared because the Hafa fans don't have it. They will look after themselves. But if it was another team who didn't have a firm where they will stick up for themselves, very trained, they're quite radical themselves against how they feel against Palestine and Arabs, yeah? I bet they would let any other team in there because they know there will be fans there will oppose them and stand up for themselves. They're fucking bullies and they're fucking cowards. It's really made me angry because everybody likes football. Why should one sector of a crowd get fucking banned? It's ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. And this country, they need to take a stand and overturn it. And I think they will do. It's just the fucking cheek of it. The cheek of it. They claim racism, but they don't want no Jews around. Yeah, and it is about them being Jewish. It's no other way around. I mean, why pick on their fans? Paris Saint-Germain have been rioting. AC Milan have. FC Copenhagen have. Do you know what I mean? They've all been rioting in this Europa League. They always do. But no one's banning them. But why ban Hafa? Yeah? You know, through the German sides, Frankfurt, Cologne, and all that lot, they all fucking riot. The Spanish fans do. You know? So why is it the Israeli team fans getting banned? And they most probably would only have about 1,000 there as well, Yoef. Do you know what I mean? They would only have 1,000, and they're telling me, oh, we can't get the police force out. Well, you could get the fucking police force out when Tommy Robinson fucking does a fucking march. Do you know what I mean? A peaceful march. It's a joke. It's a joke, and it's an embarrassment for Aston Villa Football Club and their fans. And their fans are fucking saying about it. It's fucking wrong. But they should boycott the game to let the people know there's no, we don't see anything. You want to fight racism in football, well, you're not going the right way about it. So anybody tells me to do the Black Lives Matter, worry about the Black Lives Matter fucking knee and everything, well, go fuck yourself now, because the Jews are being discriminated not to go to a football match. It's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous.
Did you know that according to Islam, if a Christian or a Jew or Hindu or anything else who's not Muslim drinks from a water cup or a cup, then a Muslim is not allowed to drink from it because it's desecrated? Did you know that?
Say that again, mate. I did cut out a bit, sorry.
Did you know that according to Islam,
Go on, man.
a water cup or water tap has been drunk from by somebody who's not Muslim, like Christian, Jewish, Hindu, whatever, then it's considered desecrated and Muslims are not allowed to drink from it. So they don't want you to drink from their water sources. Did you know that?
No, because look, I've been catching up with Tommy Robinson's. I can't keep up with him because he's got loads of content out. He's in Israel at the moment, yeah. and he's bringing it all out. And I will review it tomorrow if you're around, because everything's on what you're saying. There is, he's talking to an Israeli, and they were saying the same thing, you know. I read, man, and it's people don't know the extent what happened with October the 7th, right, and how close Gaza was to these residents. Do you know what? This guy who had his young child murdered and his ex-wife murdered said the people who lived in these kibbutz, right, near the Gaza thing, the Palestinians, were all good and all good, friendly and everything. When that happened, they turned on his fucking family, right? He gave them jobs and everything. They turned on his family when they got invaded, got hold of his child, kidnapped her. Do you know what I mean? And they stabbed him in the back, and they were all living happily together in that kibbutz. Yeah, it's fucking sick and shocking, and everybody goes around demonstrating. Yeah, do you know what I mean? You know,
it's well. Look, if you come around naively, like on a one-to-one. Let's live happily together against the culture which is orchestrated by its literature to overtake the world, the caliphate, by any means necessary. They do it, they call it the salami tactic. You know what that is?
Oh, mate.
It's piecewise. So firstly, they come around and say, we're pious, we only want to sit, we only want to work, we only want to live. When they're strong enough, they also want the territory, and they also start collecting protection like they do in Israel. After that, well, in Iran, you can't, and in some other places you can't. So the now when they do hijrah is infiltration, and after infiltration they go step by step until they become stronger and stronger and stronger, and they want more and more and more, and then when the war doesn't work for them, they say hudna. Hudna means that they come out of the war, but not really, like the Germans did in Versailles in March 1919, like they did in Munich 1938, like they did May 8, 1945, by the end of the war. And then they've got Tardia, which is 2015, 2016, and then they have this thing called Kitman, so they change the names of everything from Ir Ganim to Jenin, from Tel Kerem to Tulkarem, and the Romans also did it. They did it from Judea to Palestina, from Shomron to Sebastia, from Shechem to Nablus, from Bethel to Ramallah, from Jerusalem, Ir HaKodesh, to Al-Quds. Quds doesn't come from Arabic, it's Hebrew. Hebron, they made from it Al-Khalil. They invent any alternative name. And all this bullshit. What is Palestinian identity? It's normal Arabs, it's normal Muslims. They are the imperialists, they are the colonialists.
Sorry, mate. That's me. Sorry, I hit my phone by accident. Go on, mate. Carry on. Sorry.
And they come round and play miserable. They say that they're a small nation which has been robbed. They are not a small nation. They are a huge Arab nation all the way from Yemen to Morocco. It's the same Arab nation and same language and same habits with minor differences. And then they say that they're the small, and that they are, Israel without the desert, is about, and without the Arab dense populations, is about as large as Milwaukee. Okay?
Yeah.
Milwaukee metropolitan area. And they say that this was a Goliath. Milwaukee is not a Goliath. And even a three Milwaukees is not a Goliath. And you compare it with all the stretch of Morocco to Yemen, which is like the entire width of Europe from Portugal to the Ural Mountains. Okay? Over the east of Iran. It's huge. And then they've got Muslims like all the way to Indonesia. And they're crying that they're small and that they're weak and that they're few and that they're poor and what people want from them. They're the ones who slipped in. They're the ones who infiltrated. They're the ones who settled. They're the ones who are the imperialists. World over, stated on the pages of the Quran, they have a mission statement. And then people in the West say, apolitical Islam, let's invent apolitical Islam. It's like inventing a gun which doesn't fire. Yeah? If it's not for world rule and world supremacy, then you can default back to Christianity. What's the problem? Because then you would have to say things the way they are. Then you would have to respect your neighbor. Now, between them, they respect the neighbor. And when they are a small, weak minority in the West, they also behave themselves. But when they become power, just wait what will happen in New York when Mamdani becomes mayor. He's already met with one of the main jihadi leaders who was associated with ISIS, etc. On a friendly terms, he met with him. And just wait what that would do to Britain. Because you ain't seen nothing yet in Britain. All these grooming gangs and all these football things and all these sporadic murders is hardly scratching the tip of the iceberg. Because, for example, last Yom Kippur, when that Syrian murdered a couple of Jews, he was wearing an explosive vest which didn't go off. Next time around, it may go off. You experienced the same decade that Israel had between 1993 to 2002. Yeah. Nearly a couple thousand of Israelis were exploded, mostly civilian, predominantly civilians, in buses, in shops, on the street. And Britain is much larger, okay? And if your situation is that your internal security is in their hands, your home office is in their hands, they're in control of the detectives, they're in control of the internal information systems. They are now working with their peers throughout the EU. For example, the head of the Austrian intelligence service is also a Muslim. So they coordinate Europol. Europol is Muslims from Britain, Muslims from Belgium, Muslims from Netherlands, Muslims from France, Muslims from Austria. You see where it's going? Yeah. That's the EU. And they're going to use the digital ID on you. They're going to use the digital life book on you. They're going to use the social credit scores on you. Have you prayed 5 times a day to Mecca? No, no food. Have you given your daughters to pederast predators? No water. You see, if you don't. And this is coming sooner than you expect. Because they have bought up Qatar and Saudi Arabia and all this, have bought up the bankrupt countries in the West. Portugal, Ireland, Slovenia. They're just gobbling them up, replacing the people in the important places, not the fig leaves that you call presidents and ministers. It's not interesting. They're just going straight for the jugular, for the police, for the internal security service, for the banks. And they're going to control all the digital currency, all the central bank digital currency, all the 15-minute cities, all the schools, right? So if your daughter is not their prostitute, if your son is not their servant, you're finished. You see, there was in Britain a case that a dad complained that a grooming gang nailed his daughter with metal pins to a tank, to a table. Then the police arrested him for racism, for complaining that they cut the body of his daughter. Why was accepting it with love? Why is he fearful, having a phobia from such an organization? In other words, Islamophobia means there you complain. Of course you will fear, but there you express it. There you share it. Then they'll cut you to smithereens. They'll starve you, and the female, they screw over also. You see, and if they put you in jail, they screw you there also. So it's absolutely dystopic. And most of the people still don't put 1 and 1 together. And when it's A plus B plus D plus C plus E, you get F. And you get F across the board and you can't move anymore. Now, the policemen are not revolting. The security service is not revolting. The media is not revolting. The banks are all sold and bought. You see? So the entire thing is going to come down together at a surprise, just like COVID-19 1984. Absolute lies that nobody has ever found by microscopy. Any kind of viruses, any kind of immune systems. It's absolute ghost stories for double-living children. That's what it is. And people line up to get the poison jabs, you see? And then they drop like poison flies because that's what they are. And nobody cares because the dead are incinerated. And their houses are given to grooming gangs and nobody dares to speak. And then they say there will always be Britain. Well, I wonder what name they're going to give to Britain. Albistan from Albion. I think it's a good name, right? Albistan. Next to Frankistan, next to Belgistan, for Germany, Andalus for Spain. And it's coming. Everybody sees it's coming. And hardly anybody moves a finger because it hasn't yet happened completely to them. So they don't care. And of course, there will be no alcohol and there will be no going out. And things are going to return to the early medieval on steroids because early medieval, you still could associate with people. You could still have alcohol. You could still have something somehow, somewhere. You could still preach, tell the truth and fairness. But this is going to disappear. This is going to be far worse than the Soviet Union. Far, far worse off than the Soviet Union. And the younger generation don't even know what the Soviet Union was like. They don't know what the problems were. There was hunger.
Oh God, it was terrible. They used to have to line up in the queue, didn't they, for their food and, you know.
If there was anything in the shop, and it's not a queue like in Britain, it's a queue like a quarter mile.
Yeah.
And you can stand there for hours in the freezing cold, really freezing, -10, -20, quarter mile, and there's nothing in the shop because the price.
It's not like if you had anything to buy in the shop because they only had limited stuff, didn't they? You know.
And the reason was that the prices were regulated. When the prices are regulated, down-regulated, it's not worthwhile for anybody to manufacture, to deliver, and to sell. People will only sell potatoes and bread and meat and dairy when they can set the price they are up to. And they will sell to who has money. You see? When you decide what the prices are going to be, they're going to be low, so-called fair, then nobody's going to get anything. That's the kind of fair you're going to get. The only fair you're going to get is when everybody is equally hungry and starved. Okay? And the unfair is that the shelves are full and everybody's got work. Because it's an open market, and market is a way to find the truth. Now, I'm not blaming Muslims for communism. They're not communists. Don't get me wrong. They're anti-communists. They understand markets. But the advent of digital currencies, and in a digital currency like in gold, there's no promise buying it to work. The only way you can put value behind gold is when you have slave farms. Americans are rolling their eyes and saying, how could it be that a wonderful constitution with a preamble, with the beginning part, condemning feudal and vassalism, ended up with 19th century slave farms all over the place? The answer is the introduction of gold as money forced it to be backed by slave labor. And these guys who came out of these slave farms are now the ghettos inside the big cities, shaking hands with the Mexican cartels, with the Chinese cartels, with the opium, with the fentanyl, and then they bring over the next oppressor around with the money from the oil wells, with an ideology, with a tenacious business model of world overtake, which is what the globalists always.
Mate, I'm just going to interrupt you. I'm going to put the link out for anyone to come on, only if they keep to the subject. Anybody comes on, no trolling, keep it to the subject. Yes, no attacks or anything, just keep to the subject and we can have a gentle discussion, regardless if you disapprove or not, okay? So I'm going to put the link out anyway to join us. Carry on, mate. Sorry, I'm just putting that message out there because they just have to be told before they come on. Yeah. Go ahead, mate. Carry on, mate. Right.
Okay. The thing is, you have to understand that Islam was not invented by Arabs. It was invented by the Jesuit order. And their headquarters are in the town of Dachau, north of Munich, in Bavaria. And they also have centers in Paris and in Rome, you see? Because they are the original globalists, the Roman Empire. So in ancient history, they're absolutely not Muslim. Nobody was Muslim. And it's the Romans who invented Islam. And it's the Romans who now invent digital currency. They are inviting over the jihadists. They are paying for them. They are feeding them abroad and in the West. They are inciting them. They are covering up for them. You see, there's a network above the network that you see. There are three networks. There are the jihadists on the street. There are the jihadists in the civil service. And then there's the globalists completely on top. And what you see is only the lowest layer. Okay? Which is like marionettes with strings attached, like Pinocchio. And they are controlled by the monarchists, by the nobility, by the lords, by the civil service, in order to replace the population with docile servants who do automatically whatever they're told. Okay?
Okay.
This is abominable. And this is the Roman Empire, which has always been contested and rejected and pushed against and rejected by Jews since antiquity. The reason that biblical Judea was destroyed by the Romans is because Jews told them, we're not going to take it. You put your Caesar to be God. You forgot the rules of life, the rules of nature. Bugger off. And there was a regional rebellion, with extensions into Europe and the Far East. It was a world war. Now, it got the Romans out of the Middle East, and it forced them to accept the form of Christianity, but they distorted it. They renamed the Caesar to Pope, and the guy that they butchered to smithereens, the guy whose name everybody knows, they decided to turn him into some cosmic cocktail.
But can I just answer the press? Press, it's his opinion, isn't it? It doesn't mean it's everybody else's opinion. He's only here telling what he thoughts. If you just open.
I tell you where I got it. I tell you where I got it about the Romans. There is a professor named Walter Veith, Veith. Okay, and he's got. You can see on YouTube for free a series, Total Onslaught, about Christianity and many other things.
Can you give us a link to it? I'll put it in the chat to him, so we could. If you put it in the private chat, anything you say, we could put links out so they could go and listen themselves if the people are like opposing you about it. So if you put it up where you got it from, yeah.
Yeah, in a minute it will be there. Yeah, I found it. He made very, very, very detailed research, and
right.
You got it.
I'll put it in there.
The thing is also that it's a feudal vassal system, because Dar al-Harb is feudalism and Dar al-Islam is vassalism.
Yeah. Right, carry on, mate, because I'm just doing this quickly. Okay.
Because it is a creation of the globalists, you cannot understand it on the merit of itself. Even in the Quran, Muhammad says he doesn't understand his victories. Of course not. Somebody opened the town doors from within. Illuminati worked for the Jesuits.
Yeah.
Just like they do it today. Who opened the doors? Who opened the borders? Who disabled the police? Who handed over the police? Who handed over the civil service and the banks and the Home Office? Illuminati. And they obey orders from the Jesuit order. The top of the Illuminati work for the Jesuit order, and the Jesuits get the orders from the Pope and from the oligarchy.
You believe the Illuminati? I don't believe in that. I just think that's all.
In what?
All conspiracy theory and that. Do you know what I mean? I don't believe in the Illuminati. I just think it's.
They are completely out in the open. In Israel, they're everywhere, completely in the open, and also in the West. I mean, the literature is in the open, the symbols are in the open. You see it throughout London, throughout Washington. You see the Masonic lodges. They're not hiding themselves. They're completely out in the open. They're called also Rotary. You can see them in Germany. They're called Nebrit. They're called Alumbrados. They're called Freemasons, and they may have other names. They're totally out in the open. There's not a question about it. Also, the Jesuit order. Now, what does the word conspiracy really mean? It means that somebody is planning something. Okay.
Yeah.
All regimes are conspiracies. All businesses are conspiracies. All the judiciary is conspiracies. That's the way of the world. Planning behind the back and then executing. Now, when you understand this, that the Roman Empire never disappeared, that the First Reich, why Hitler's regime was called Third Reich. Second Reich, where the feudal caste appointed him and controlled him. And the First Reich is the old Roman Reich, which destroyed Judea and butchered to smithereens the guy whose name you know. Right? So it's the same old. The old Roman Empire was the Gestapo of old times. And the EU is going to give you the present day Gestapo. All this persecution of straight parents and straight children, all this compulsory sex mutilation that they call it change to not having one. Okay? I'm glad that your listeners come from a very naive background. They don't know what's happening in the US. They don't know how the Illuminati are out in the open. It's very scary because at first glance, there's nothing you can do about it. But the only way to protect yourself is know what you're facing. Okay? The only way to be safe and secure by any means, to any extent, is to make sure that the people around you, as many people as possible, know what's going on. That all these stories of young men with old women is impersonating the first marriage of Muhammad with Khadija, who was an old lesbian who knew how to read and write because she went to a nun school. Uncle was a Catholic priest. Okay?
Right, then I'll just note to everybody here, Joseph, he's got his own faults, okay? And he, everybody's got their different opinions. I've just told Joseph I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but this is what he believes in, and he's entitled to say it. He's doing it respectfully, because how going to be hypocritical? No, it's going to be, he's doing it respectfully. You can all disagree, which is great. But carry on, Joseph, because I'm interested in what you have got to say to the rest of it, and people could contribute it and can ask you questions about it if they want to come on the panel, because everybody don't think the same, do they? I'm just learning what he's saying, and it's his faults, So carry on, mate. The floor is yours still. Yeah.
What you can simply open the book. You can simply open the book. There's echo.
Oh, so let me come out a bit. Okay, all right. Carry on, mate. I'll be back. Carry on talking.
So there's a book called Quran, Quran. You can find it for free on the web. You can read. First marriage of Muhammad was to a woman named Khadija. She had an uncle named Waraka. Okay, I'm not making it up. It's in the book. And he organized for her to learn. And this is how she could manage a business that she's inherited from her former husband.
It's his fault, So carry on, mate. The floor is yours still. Yeah.
What you can simply open the book. You can simply open the book called there's echo.
Oh, so let me come out a bit. Okay, all right. Carry on, mate. I'll be back. Carry on talking.
So there's a book called Quran, Quran. You can find it for free on the web. You can read first marriage of Muhammad was to a woman named Khadija. She had an uncle named Waraka. Okay, I'm not making it up. It's in the book. And he organized for her to learn, and this is how she could manage a business that she's inherited from her former husband who was very old. So she married the old guy, let him die or finished him, and took it, and then took a toy boy. So now everybody has to live like Muhammad, and when he's young to go with an old woman, and when he's old to go with a young girl. Because Muhammad took a 3 years old Aisha, a Jewish white girl, and when she was 9, impregnated her. You see? So now they're trying to change the law.
saying Aisha was a Jewish white girl?
Yes, for all I know. And this is why at a certain point when she was old and understood what was going on, according to their story, she tried to poison him, but he suspected that she was going to poison him. So he gave the food to a boy that he always carried with him, his companion. Now you would ask yourself, why would by then already 70 years old man carry with him a boy who is not from his family? You can understand what kind of interest he had in him, right? And deep in him, and he gave him to eat the food. And he died.
Should I just ask you, where did you get Aisha was Jewish white girl? Where did you get that from? I mean, I ain't got a clue. Where did you get that from? Like, where did you get? Is it a well-known fact? Or
Well, you can. That's what people who read the Quran told me about. Look, that he firstly had Khadija who was old, and then Aisha was a child. That's everybody knows. Okay.
Oh
Now,
wow! Oh Christ!
I mean, look, you have to read for yourself. Don't believe what people tell you. Read for yourself.
Yeah.
And see what's in the Quran, what's in the
Well,
Hadith.
I don't know what she was. I just presumed she was Muslim. I just presumed she was by the name Aisha. You know, I just presumed. Yeah.
It's only a language. It's only a language. I mean, you can use a language, Arab language, and be Christian, because all the Christians in the Muslim world use the local languages, right? And when Jews...
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with you. I just thought it's just the first time I've ever heard that. That's all. I just presumed she was Muslim. That was all. Yeah.
No. I mean, look, in medieval Spain, there were lots of Jewish scholars. Nearly all the scholars were Jewish. Okay, and they have had various names. Some of them had Arab-sounding names. They were writing in Arabic. Okay. Because that was the standard language. So just because, for example, if you called Ricky Freeman, does it mean that you are of certain denomination? You could be Hindu, you could be Buddhist, you could be Muslim, you could be Christian, you could be anything, right?
Well, coming by the surname, is it actually Jew, my surname?
Well,
it's an RC Jewish name.
Yeah, but there's an American black actor named Freeman.
Yeah, well, he could be a black Jew, couldn't he?
Yeah, I suppose he's Christian, okay?
Yeah.
So it doesn't prove anything, right? I mean, if you're called Brown, does it mean that you're Ethiopian? No, you could be German and you could be Catholic from Bavaria. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, black African. Is he black? No. Is he African? No. Is he Muslim? No. But he's called Schwarzenegger in proper German.
That's a German name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It means literally a black Negroid. So is an Austrian and a Catholic. So I mean, what just because somebody knows a language or uses a language or has a name or born somewhere or raised somewhere doesn't tell you yet anything about his ethnicity, about his traits, about his beliefs, about his habits, about his interests, right? And all these fascists to say we as our society, community, nation, everybody the same, they are herding people to be like animals who just obey orders from a regime which is selling them out and off. You see, once you start trusting a regime, which is a bunch of servants of oligarchs, because the state is nothing more than a tin charade for servants of oligarchs. All what they do is subserve the biggest money. And you are the food on the plate, you see? So this is why in places like Switzerland and the US, most of the people don't like to rely on government. They don't
deserves what I say. I don't regret it. And I know that there's also this concerted effort to, for some strange, bizarre reason, uphold Lady Divine when she ain't even around. I don't regret what I said to Lady Divine. I want to the day I go to my grave, I won't regret it.
I don't even know fully what was said, to be honest. I just know it was something about our kid.
So that woman sat online, right? So this is how I perceive it. I'm going to just put it out there, how I perceive it. And people can agree or disagree with me. When I first met Lady Divine, she was a black woman that hated me because I was married to a black man, didn't like the fact that he was Nigerian, participated in racial hate towards my husband, participated in racial hate towards me because I was white. Yeah.
I can believe that.
Sat about in groups with other black activists to target me. Yeah. And other left-leaning people and trolls that were from the Muslim community. And I'm not talking about ghosts. I'm talking about people that were probably more educated than ghosts. Yeah. And then she didn't stay with the black activists. For a little while, she went and sat on Muslim channels. She bigged up Ninkolas, even when he said that people should be able to marry 9-year-olds. Even Ultra had to come on and pull her up and straighten out what she'd said. She was bigging him up and saying that it's his culture and this, that, and the other. Yeah. She came online and she was disingenuous, often pretending that she didn't know what was going on when she'd always been listening. Yeah. And then she would go away from